All right, we're going to talk about strings in this video. And the first thing that I want to say is a string is just something like a sentence. It contains characters, or I guess it contains a string of characters. They could be words with spaces or special characters, or numbers stored as characters. They're not actual numbers when they're in a string. So you won't be able to do math with them, but they're basically, you can think of them as like words and sentences and characters. The first thing that I want to talk about is the difference between an empty string and a null string. And there's a few important differences. So let me list them out. I'm going to make something in here and we'll see what happens. Where's my pause button? So I've created 3 strings here. And these two are the same. They have the same thing in it, but this one is a little bit different. This one's a null string. We're creating a reference to this, but it has no address. There's no address stored in here, so it's null. There is no address. This is actually pointing to a place in memory. It just has no characters there. This is also pointing to a place in memory, but it also has no characters because these are 2 ways to make an empty string. So the difference is these 2 are empty strings and this one is a null string. The important, like one of the biggest things one of the biggest differences here is that you can do, you might think they do the same thing, but you can do methods on empty strings. So like you can say, what's some of the methods for a string class? We can say index of or whatever and like figure out some strings or make a substring or something. You can run methods on an empty string, but you cannot on a null string. If you try to run stuff on a null string, you'll get a null pointer exception because there is no address in here. Hopefully you're understanding what I'm saying. If I printed this one out, it would print out null. If I printed this out, in fact I'll show you, then it'll just print out nothing. It'll be blank. So I'll type that up and we'll see that. Actually, I just tried this. BlueJ won't even let me compile it because it says variable word1 might not have been initialized, meaning this doesn't have anything in it. It's not pointing to any address. This would be fine. So if I commented this out, this should be fine, and it will print out nothing. It'll print out an empty string, which, let's see what that means. It's just printing out word2. There's nothing there because I said print out word2 and then word2. There's nothing. Yeah, so there you go. That's that. We'll move on to the next section. Let me pause it. The next, we already talked about it. You can add words together or like concatenate. That's what it's called when you combine 2 strings using the plus. So I'm taking this string. I just made this. This is a string, and then I'm adding word2 to that string. I could say stuff for word2 like hello, and then that should print out. It should say word2 and then hello. Word2 hello. There we go. So we can add 2 strings together by using the plus. You can also use the plus equals to store it into a new variable. So like you can say, actually let me pause this. So let's see what this does. Word2 plus equals word2. So I'm getting word2 and I'm adding itself to it, and then I'm storing it back in word2. So it should say hello, hello if I print this out. So first it'll print, well, I'll get rid of this. See what happens. Hopefully you're thinking, whoops, thinking what it should print out on your own. But hello, hello. Now word2 is hello, hello. So you can modify strings in that way. Another thing that we should talk about is comparing strings. You can use, or you should use the dot equals to. So, like if we wanted to say or use the dot equals, we can say string. This is the format. String name dot equals, and then compare string or whatever. What string 2. String I should have said string name 2. So like you can compare the dot equals method returns a Boolean value, so it'll return true or false. So you can put this inside if statements, or any like a while loop, or any type of thing where you're looking for a Boolean. And yeah, they always use a dot equals. You can use, I mean, those are, I didn't actually make anything. I'll get rid of that. You can use the equals equals, but it doesn't throw an error. So I could say, if, let's just make up something right now. If word 2 equals equals, you should never do this. Word 3. This I think will compile. Let's find out. System.out.println. We'll say, hey, it thinks they are equal. But the dot equals, I think, just checks to see if you're pointing to the same address. So even if the words are equal, and they're stored in different places, then you wouldn't actually get it. The dot equals actually compares the characters, whereas the equals equals compares the addresses. So this right now, I don't think it'll print out because they're not. These addresses are not the same. So watch. Let's see what happens. Oh yeah. Compile. So I don't think it'll print out this part. So let's see. Hello, hello, and then it doesn't print out that other part. If I said, watch this. So you'd think, hello, now these are the same. Let's see if it prints out. I don't think it will. Actually, let's get rid of this as well. And then why, try and think about why is that. So yeah, it doesn't do anything. I don't have any terminal window, doesn't print out anything. That's because word 3 has a different address, even though it has the same characters, as word 2. So these have different addresses in them, and when we use the equals equals, it compares the addresses for these objects, because string is an object. So what I really want to do, if I wanted to actually compare these two strings, right now I'm comparing the addresses. With equals equals, it compares the addresses of the objects. For the, if I want to actually compare what's inside them, the characters, then I can use word 2 dot equals, how do I spell it? Word 3. So now it's going to be looking at the actual characters, and now it should print them out, I think. Let's see. No? Maybe not. Let me figure this out. Hold on. Oh, I see why. Because I changed word 2. So I'm going to comment this out. So it's not hello and hello. I guess I should have changed the other one. Maybe I'll go back and show you. But let's comment this out and then change this back to equals, equals equals. So we'll say word, I just still want to show you that it doesn't work. Equals equals word 3. So this is still not going to print out because they're stored in different places. So it shouldn't do anything. I'll run it and nothing will happen. Run it, nothing happens. No terminal window. So if I did this though, Control V, word 2 dot equals, now they're the same. Remember, I commented that out, so they're not changed. So these, they have different addresses stored in word 2 and word 3, but at those addresses we have the same characters. So let's see if it prints out now. I think that's what was the problem. So let's see. And there we go. Things are equal. And that's what you should always use. The dot equals method for strings. You should never use the equals equals, because the equals equals, the main thing is that it compares the addresses and not the actual characters, because you're going to have stuff stored in different places, but they could have the same characters. This video is long enough. I'm going to continue the rest of it in another part. All right, adios.